Ha! Oh, hello everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel where I'm doing something a bit different. This is my first amp video, I think. And I'm doing this video with this little thing here, which is the BluGuitar AMP1. This is the Mercury Edition. In that intro, I went through each of the kind of 4 channels you've got, but that is only the tip of the iceberg where this thing is concerned. It's a 100-watt tube amp. This little bit here, this Nano Tube 100, is a Russian sub-miniature tube, and it gives it 100 watts of power and 100 watts of tube goodness, basically. Let's start with the clean sound. So we'll go back to the channel here. I'll go through the controls quickly with you. I mean, it works like an amplifier, exactly as you would think, except it's got a load of kind of extra hidden features too. So across the front here, we've got 3 foot switches, obviously. This is our channel selector foot switch, which takes you between the clean or the overdrive channel. And in the overdrive channel, you've then got a choice of vintage, classic, or modern gain, basically. So that's, well, overdrive, obviously. It's the overdrive channel. Controllable with the gain knob and the master volume knob for the overdrive. All right. So that's what that switch does. It takes you between clean and your overdrive sound. The next one is a boost button, and that gives you a volume boost. And you can adjustable on the side here. There's some side controls. The boost is adjustable. We'll talk about that in a bit. Next up, we've got our 3-band EQ, bass, middle, and treble. It's a good EQ. Basically, unlike kind of vintage amplifiers, they don't affect each other. So if you turn the tone up, turn the treble up, it's just going to affect the treble. It's not going to affect anything else, which is very handy. It gives you a lot of kind of tone shaping capabilities there. On the end here, we've got a reverb, digital reverb, obviously, in a little box this size. But it's kind of modelled on a spring reverb. I think it sounds nice. It's good. Up here, we've got the master volume, and that's it for the front panel. This is the reverb switch, by the way. Sorry, I should have said that. That just switches the reverb on and off, as you'd expect. Let's go through some of the sounds, and then I'll talk about all the other connectivity and stuff that it's got. So also, it's worth mentioning, along the side here, there are some other extra controls. So for the clean channel, you've got an overall tone control, and we'll look at what that does. But it basically takes you, if it's all the way off, which is what it is at the moment, you get a kind of classic. Incidentally, until I say otherwise, all the sound you're hearing is being recorded by this SM57 coming out of this BluGuitar Fat Cab, which is 1x12. Nice speaker cab. Anyway, this is our clean sound. So if I turn that tone knob, see how that affects the overall tone. So this is all the way up now. So it's a lot brighter, kind of more modern sounding. Unsurprisingly, if you've seen anything I do, I prefer it turned all the way down so that it's more classic sounding, like this. But but it's good to have that versatility, isn't it? That's really nice. Let's start looking at the overdrive sounds. Now, I've just, the EQ I kind of preset when I was doing it to suit this guitar. It's very, very flexible, and it does exactly what you need it to do. I don't think I really need to go over equalization, do I? But I will in a minute. Let's look at the overdrives first, because I've already got this guitar dialed in the way I like it. Sounds great, right? Cool. Next channel, let's press the foot switch here. We'll start with the vintage. Now, the vintage doesn't have any other controls apart from what's on the front here, the gain and the master. So if we start with the gain down kind of low and the master up a bit higher. Where are we? It's a bit brighter, isn't it? So let's turn the gain up and the master down a bit. I mean, that sounds great, right? It might have a little less reverb. That's all the gain. And I know that this setting has got a bit of kind of compression in it to emulate old-fashioned valve amps, basically, which it does really nicely. So let me turn the gain down a touch, down to about 7. What's that? Oh, down a bit more, maybe? 5. That's cool, and it's low volume. Like, I could turn this up a lot louder, but I've got neighbours. It's loud enough. It was 100 watts. It's seriously loud. So that's the vintage. Let's try a different setting. How about kind of this down here? That's nice. That sounds great. Yeah, lovely. Let's look at the boost quickly while we're in this kind of setting, because the boost has got this control on the side here, which takes it from, when it's turned all the way kind of anti-clockwise, it is like a kind of treble boost almost. Let's hear that. So. Turn it off again. So that's subtle but very useful. I'm going to try turning it up now while I'm kind of holding an E minor 7 chord, because I can do that with no fingers on the fretboard. Let's try that. So you can hear that that got quite a lot louder. And as you turn it up, it becomes more like a kind of overdrive pedal style boost, yeah? Very good for operating on the volume control, that. Let's turn the boost off. Here we go. Ha! That works, doesn't it? Great. That's great. Cool. Let's look at the next one. So, the classic is the next overdrive setting that we've got. We've got gain and master on the front. On the side here, we've got volume and tone as the extra settings. The volume settings, because there's a volume setting for the classic and the modern, which allows you to just balance those different overdrive volumes out. So when you're switching between them, they're similar levels, which is really useful. The tone is, yeah, again, it's a tone for the overdrive, so you can tweak it without having to touch your master tone controls down here. Let's hear what it sounds like. Higher gain than the vintage, but not as much gain as the modern. This is the classic on a bridge humbucker. See how it sounds. We're set to 5 on the gain here. on. Yeah, that rocks, doesn't it? What's the boost sound like that on that? Let's turn it on. All right. So the boost is still set to the kind of overdrive setting rather than the treble boost, which for this is what I'd want it set to. So it's gnarly, isn't it? Good. Let's see what the tone control does on here. So at the moment, oh, that was turned all the way up, I think, there. So, oh no, it was halfway. Let's turn it all the way up. So, is that all the way back there? So you can, it's like going backwards and forwards through time with overdrive tones, isn't it? Just turning this on the side. The shaping of it. So all the way forwards. And all the way back with the tone. That's brilliant. Wow, really useful. And everywhere in between. So kind of midway, I suppose, would be somewhere roughly here. Turn the boost off. Let's see what it sounds like with the gain all the way up. Lots of gain. I mean, it's big. It's not really my area of expertise, the old high gain. But I do like to venture in there, dip my toe in the waters occasionally, and it is great fun. Speaking of which, let's move to the modern. Now, modern is the highest gain setting of the lot. Let's turn the reverb down a touch. Stay on the bridge pickup for this. I'm going to start with the tone all the way back on the side because it's got that control. Let's see how it sounds. Gain is in the middle on the front. It's a lot of gain, right? Turn it all the way up, see how that sounds. Wow, okay, cool. Try that with a boost. Yeah. Now, yeah, so there's a load of gain there. That's a lot. If you don't like the background noise, you could always turn your Noisegate on because it's got a built-in Noisegate on the front here, on the side, sorry, here. So I'm going to turn it to soft. Oh, where's that noise gone? It's completely disappeared because it will only come. So in soft, it gives you that little tail before it dies off. The other setting is metal, which is a lot more, it's a lot quicker, the response times. And it's silent then. So if that's your thing, you've got that on there, which is useful. All right, so I'm going to turn it off for now, and I'm going to switch back to the vintage, which is, you know, more my wheelhouse. Let's look now at some of the connections on the top. because I'm using it in a fairly traditional way. There are lots of kind of extras you can get for this. There's a foot switch, which has got a power soak in it that does all sorts of other stuff that is kind of tied to this. A speaker sim, lots basically. But I think if you check the links below for all that kind of stuff. I'm just concentrating today on the stuff I have in the room with me, which is this amplifier. So let's look at the top input and output panel, because that's kind of interesting. Guitar input there, obvious, that's fine. Send and return on the effects loop. You can have that as a parallel or serial effects loop. That is switchable on the side. So at the moment it's switched to serial because I was using it with my looper for the intro, and I'll use it again on the outro. The reason I wanted to use it for my looper was so that I could take a clean loop and then switch channels and do an overdriven solo. So you can do that in the effects loop. Next up, we've got the record out, which can also be a headphone out. Right. Let's listen to that. I'm going to unplug the speaker. So the next two jacks here is a speaker output. There's an 8 ohm and a 16 ohm. I'm plugged into this 8 ohm cabinet here. I'm going to unplug the speaker. So now in the room, it's totally silent. So I'm going to put my headphones on. And I'm listening now to the direct output of this, which has gone straight into my interface, via, you know, the kind of DI input. And I'm not going through the speaker at all. So it's a speaker emulated output for recording. Let's see how it sounds on the clean sound. So I'm hearing what you're hearing here. So clean channel. Master up a bit more reverb perhaps. I mean, that's a nice clean output. It works well. It sounds like a cabinet. It doesn't sound exactly like this cabinet necessarily, but it sounds like a nice speaker cabinet. Let's see how it sounds with the vintage sound. Let's turn the gain down a touch. However. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a recording, you know, guitar recording output, a nice one, and it works. I don't think I need to go through all the sounds, but I might go through just the classics, see how that sounds, a bit more high. Works really nicely. It also doubles as a headphone out, so you can use it for silent practice at home. Next up on the end here, we've got the foot switch output. You can connect that to a standard like 2 switch switch, and it will, you know, do the reverb and the boost for you, which is really useful. You can also use it for MIDI control via a kind of breakout thing. And also it connects up to the big foot switch I was talking about before. So it's got a lot of kind of connectivity built into that one socket. But overall, that is a 100-watt valve amp. It weighs nothing, comes in a nice padded bag. You could easily sling it in a guitar case. So yeah, it's really good. I'm looking forward to kind of getting to know it a bit more and taking it out on a gig maybe and seeing how it fares that way. Yeah, all the links, all the specs, all the details and everything are below as ever. Do click like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. And if you've got one, I'd be really interested to know what you use it for and how you've got on with it. For now, I'm going to play out on, let's go for vintage, low gain. I'm going to start a loop and we'll see how we get on. All right. So thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. How's this sound? Slightly less verb, I think, maybe. Maybe a bit more volume, a bit more gain. And then 2, see you soon. 3, 4.